سبيل الدموع سبيل مريح تنهد يا صاحي كي تستريح.
Of last time, just so we're on the same page, and so it'll be a good reminder for everybody else who's coming in right now. So we covered a few things last week, last class, which was discussing the different types of impurity. So in Islam, impurity is very important to have, and without purity, we cannot worship properly. We cannot be closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in order to be pure, we have to follow specific rulings. So Islamically, few things make us impure. Someone asks, does sweating make you impure? It doesn't, right? But if you have flowing blood, let's say I have a paper cut, that's fine because the blood isn't flowing. It's just very small, very concise cut. But if you scrape your knee playing football or soccer, let's say, and your blood starts flowing, or you see movement of blood flow, then you become impure. How do you get rid of that? By taking water and just getting rid of it. You just put water on it. But let's say there are other kinds of impurity. If you were to have relations with your spouse, or if you were to have a wet dream, then to get rid of that impurity, you have to take a ghusl, a shower, an Islamic shower. Now, what is consistent in Islamic shower? We'll be covering that today in today's lecture, and I'll go more into depth. Let's say you pass. Yeah, you have a question? Does your wudu break with blood? No, you end up going into severe impurity. If I'm incorrect, we'll double check though. But for that severe impurity, what you have to do is you just basically take water and you get rid of it. So that would go under severe impurity, under a physical impurity. The major type of physical impurity under severe impurity. Someone also asked me, I believe, touching a dog. So that doesn't break your wudu. Touching a dog, what you would do is you would basically wash off whatever you. So if you touch it with your hand, wash your hand thoroughly, and then you're okay. Thoroughly means, actually don't just put your hand in the water and get it out. Rinse it, get rid of it properly. And so we mentioned the major type, which was having relations with your spouse or having a wet dream of the sort, and you have to take a ghusl for that. If you go to the restroom, if you pass gas, you do wudu to make up for that, right? But if you have things like, let's say, a wine on your clothing or blood, something like that, then you have to just take water and dispose of it that way with water. Does that make sense to everybody? For those who weren't here, that was a quick sum up of what we discussed in the first lecture. One of the main things to understand is, what does it mean to be impure? In Islamic understanding, in Sharia, impurity refers to being impure in one of three conditions: one in your body, one in your clothing, and one in the area that you're at. So currently right now, all of us, I would hope, are in all three conditions of purity. All of our clothing should be pure at the moment. All of our bodies should have no impurity on it. And this floor right here, in this area right here, we're in a masjid, everything is pure. So we check on all three, correct? So we're understanding that. There will be jeopardy based on Islam 101. So everything I emphasize, try to keep that in mind, because I gave the jeopardy questions already. They're already shipped and packaged. So for you guys to keep that in, we'll cover things along the weeks, but keep in mind important things like, okay, what does it mean to be impure? Three conditions. What kinds of impurity? Major, minor. Under what? Ritual, physical. And if you're a little bit confused about what I'm saying, refer back to the slides, refer back to the lecture that's online, and you should be up to date with it, inshallah. So moving forward, let's go into today's lecture, which is discussing about, if you guys were here last time with me, it's going to be discussing wudu, tayammum, and ghusl. I don't know if you'll have time for tayammum, depending on how the lecture goes, but because today's lecture, there are seats here if you want to sit down. Today's lecture is mainly, it's going to be a lot of information, okay? I'm just saying that ahead of time. By information, I mean there's going to be lists of information, so just bear with me. There's a lot of khair in it, there's a lot of goodness in it, so if you just keep your patience, then inshallah we can all benefit. So moving forward, wudu. So there's an ayah in the 5th surah, Surah Al-Ma'idah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O you who have believed, when you rise to perform prayer, wash your faces and your forearms to the elbows, wipe over your heads and wash your feet to the ankles. And if you are in a state of janaba, then purify yourself. Janaba, what is janaba? Does anyone know what janaba is? Janaba is the state of impurity that you would be in the case of having relations with your spouse. So if you were to have, so let's say you pray Isha, you have relations with your spouse, you go to sleep, you wake up. This is referring to what? When you rise to perform prayer, meaning this could be for tahajjud, this could be for fajr salah, whatever it is, and you're in a state of impurity, right? You should, if you're in a state of janaba, purify yourself and then make wudu and get ready for salah. So this ayah actually is where we get the far'idh, the obligatory actions of wudu. So wudu has a lot of sunnah actions to it, which we will cover inshallah. But it also has the far'idh, and it has 4 far'idh, which I mentioned in the ayah, which will be probably something that you should know for the quizzes or Jeopardy. Quizzes should not be a burden on anybody. If you get the questions right on quizzes, it's good for you, you get points for it. If you don't get the questions right, nothing happens. So you get mu'mineen points if you get it correct. If you don't get it right, then you learn something by making a mistake, and that's how we all learn. So the 4 things in this case that fuqaha, the people who came up with Islamic jurisprudence, come up with these 4 things: washing your faces, washing your forearms to the elbows, wiping over your heads, and washing your feet to the ankles. Those are the 4 obligatory things. If you are missing any of those things, your wudu is invalid. Obviously, this is in the Quran, and from Quran we have Sunnah, Rasulullah who taught us these things. So we have people, I have to make a slight mention of this because my teachers also make a mention of this, right? There are people who don't believe in hadith at all, right? They only believe in Quran. Now, is that a problem? And if there's what do you guys think? Do you guys think it's a problem if I say, I only believe in Quran, but not hadith? Because Quran is from Allah. Quran is the guidance for everything, right? There's a scholar who said that even if Surah Al-Asr was revealed, we would have more than enough guidance, right? So Quran looks like it has everything. So what's the problem with not having hadith? Yeah? Well, actually, what do you think?
So I think that hadith and Quran, if you combine them and then you follow them, so it's a complete
But why do I have to combine hadith though? Because Quran has everything. Quran has all the answers. Yeah?
So Quran has the answer, but the hadith, like it's very light. You can like follow them everything.
It's what?
It's like your daily life.
It's your very life. Okay. You had
Daily life.
daily life. Okay. What were you gonna say?
If we only follow Quran and we don't follow the hadith, we wouldn't know how to pray.
Do you have anything?
If we're following the Quran, it says you gotta follow what Prophet says and does.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So that's those are main. Yeah.
Isn't hadith also like the interpretation of Quran too?
Right. So we have 3 very good points made. Right. Quran says to follow Rasulullah. That is following the Sunnah. Right. He gave an example of if you don't follow Sunnah, you won't know how to pray. Quran says pray, establish salah. It doesn't say how to pray. Right here it says wudu, right? It's 4 things, but there's sunnah to wudu, right? All of these things. What it says, wash your faces and your forearms to the elbows and wipe your heads and wash your. Where does it say water? Does it say water anywhere? Can I use Coke to make wudu? No, right? That's what we have. That's what we need sunnah for. He said, hadith is an interpretation of Quran. Very true. Very true. We need both. We need both. This is why having hadith sunnah of Rasulullah ﷺ and Quran is very important for us. So we can understand from both. Because Rasulullah ﷺ is the teacher. Quran is the book. Okay? If I give you a book with no teacher, you just read it, you're not going to understand it properly. You need the teacher's teaching to follow it correctly. So we need both Quran and sunnah. That was a point I wanted to make because it's important for us to cover these things. And we'll go off topic, on topic as we go throughout the lecture. But I like having an ayah or a hadith emphasizing the topic that we're discussing because I always feel you need to have that in order to discuss something before you start off talking about it. Now, status of wudu. Wudu translates to excellence, beauty, cleanliness. And that's exactly what it is. So I gave you examples of things that would not be counted other than salah. So obviously if you don't have wudu, you cannot pray, right? But other than that, you also have salat al-janaza, salat al-tilawa, and tawaf when you're at the Kaaba. Those things you need wudu for. And these are small things, but today's lecture is going to be, like I said, lists of information, which we'll be covering more in depth as we go along. Let me know if you guys have any questions as we go through this, inshallah. Conditions for validity. Now, wudu will not be valid if even one of these 3 things are missing. If one of the 3 things, okay? Water has to reach all portions of the body that's required. So remember the ayah that said up to the elbows? So if I stop right here, that's not going to work out because water did not touch all of it, right? All of the limb must be washed, okay? Then it says, the next one, there shouldn't be anything that prevents the water from reaching the skin. So let's say for your wives or your sisters or your mothers, let's say they put on nail polish. right? I'm not gonna go to the new updated nail polish that has like waterproof whatever, but let's say they have nail polish on, right? That would prevent the water from reaching their skin and their nails. The water has to reach there, right? So they don't have to get rid of that in order for wudu to count. But what about guys? When would guys have that issue? We don't put on nail polish, I hope not. But when would we have that issue? When we have, let's say, casts, you get injured. So what do you do when we have casts? Well, you do something called tayammum, which we will cover, inshallah. But we also there are instances where you cannot. There's no way for you to put water in your body. And in that extreme condition, then you do something called tayammum, which we'll cover. And then the last thing is any invalidating factor, which is very general, but we'll cover what those factors are. So we need to consider these things. Because if we don't have this, the first lecture said that the key to paradise is prayer, and the key to salah, the key to prayer is wudu, is purity. And wudu is under purity. So what are these invalidating factors? So this would be something that's important to note, these lists. I like lists. The more you memorize, the harder it is. Hint, jeopardy. If you would memorize more, then you might benefit more in jeopardy. I don't know. Because you cannot make a question hard if you don't memorize more, right? So if I were to ask you, like, name me one thing, how much points would that be? Not much. But if I said name me 5 things, that's worth a lot of points, right? So keep that in mind. Invalidators of wudu. When we have this, and remember, all of this all the slides are going to be posted on the website. All the videos are going to be posted on YouTube, so you guys should have all resources. Even if you're missing a class, you cannot be missing a class. That's my thing. That's my take on it. So we're providing all the resources, inshallah. So invalidators of wudu, I'm going to go through this very quickly. Anything that's leaving your private organs, so urine, stool, flatulence, all of that. Flowing blood. Okay, obviously, if semen comes out of your, if you excrete semen, that's different. Then you have to have ghusl. That's completely different, and we covered that the first day. But urine, stool, flatulence, that's something that would go under just breaking your wudu. That's it, and you would remake your wudu for that. Okay, right here, I messed up earlier with your question. Right, you said he asked me, does blood invalidate your wudu? I said no. I was incorrect because right here it says flowing blood does invalidate your wudu. So this is good. The fact that I messed up shows that mistakes happen. And for me to correct my mistake is very important, right? For us to ask questions and for me to correct that is very important. So jazakallah khair for asking that. So flowing blood does invalidate your wudu. And like I said, the paper cut would not, right? The paper cut is different. But if you have blood flowing all over, then that invalidates your wudu. Vomiting. Now, if the vomit is a mouthful, what does that mean? Meaning sometimes we vomit, like we have a little gag reflex that comes up, and the vomit comes up a little bit and then goes back down, right? That doesn't break your wudu. But let's say it comes out onto your mouth and you can feel it in your mouth, like it actually feels like a mouthful. When you eat like a bite of rice and you put it in your mouth, it's a mouthful, right? That's when your wudu is broken. But if vomit is about to come up and then it goes back down or whatever, then your wudu is fine. Do you understand that point? Any confusion? All right. Sleeping. So someone was talking about this last time we were here, talking about sleeping. How does sleeping break your wudu? Well, if you're dozing off, let's say, but your sense of sound is still there, meaning you can hear everything and everyone around you, meaning you're just kind of closing your eyes, right? Then your wudu is fine. However, if you were to come to a point where you lose a sense of sound, like you don't know what's happening, then your wudu is gone. So my question for those people, right, who say, okay, you know what, I think my wudu is there. Sometimes when we lose sense of sound, we don't know we lost it. You know why? Because we lost the sense of sound. The sense is gone. So it's hard for us to know, oh, did I lose it or not? Unless it's obvious, in-depth sleep. So what I would recommend to everybody and myself especially is to just make the wudu. It doesn't hurt. Especially if you're in a masjid and you're dozing off, just get up, make wudu again. It's perfectly fine. Fainting. This is it's pretty clear. If you faint and you wake up, you would have to make wudu. Losing sanity, again. Becoming drunk. Now this is... why is this important? Because there was a Sahabi who was, even after Islam, he was still becoming drunk. We have Muslims who become drunk. It's not like you're a Muslim, you don't become drunk. It's not correct. It's incorrect. No one promotes it. No one condones it. But is this the state of what we're in? Yeah. Someone on a basketball one, we're talking about wine, and I mentioned to you guys as well, people serve wine. Do I promote people serving wine in restaurants? No, 100% not. Is this our condition? Yeah. So would I tell them, hey, you're impure? Yeah. We have to know these things. I'm not saying go ahead and sell wine. You're good. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying if you are in that condition, then you should know how to purify yourself. Yes.
Is it smoking?
Oh, I said smoking. Yeah, that would break your wudu. Smoking would not break your wudu. I don't think it would break your wudu. No. I could look into it though. I'll double check because I want to make sure these are all correct. So yeah, because I don't have that in here actually. I don't have smoking. That's a good question. I don't think it breaks your wudu, but I'll double check inshallah. So becoming drunk, Muslims become drunk, and honestly, I was talking about this to the basketball league. There's no point of me sitting or anybody coming here and telling us how to be pure, how to make wudu, how to do anything, if we don't care for it. You know what I mean? The hadith was talking about the key to paradise is salah. The key to paradise is prayer. And the key to prayer is purification, tahara. Now, hadith mentioned Jannah first, then prayer, then purity. What I'm doing is I'm mentioning purity first, then prayer, then Jannah. It's hard for us to find the will, the zeal, the affection towards Jannah. You know, and if that's hard for us to do, then why would we pray? Like why do I care about sitting in a lecture and learning all this information about how to perfect my wudu or how to make ghusl, how to become pure, if I don't even pray? Do you guys see what I mean? Our first problem is not wudu. Our first problem is caring enough to pray, caring enough to be pure, the care. Islam is all about effort. You know? Allah is not going to be like, when He asks you, did you finish your salah? He's not going to say, did you finish your salah with ihsan and excellence? Did you do it exactly how I deserve it? Because we will never ever be able to pray the way He deserves it. We will never be able to pray a salah in a way deserving of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're always going to have flaws. He's not going to ask for that. He's going to ask, did you do it? Did you make effort? Did you try? Did you strive? So if we care enough, then we'll work towards it. But what our problem in our society today is that we don't see the importance of prayer. So if you don't see the importance of prayer, I can say in every Iona Islam 101 lecture, learn everything. I could probably be the master of all these lists, have the best Jeopardy team, win every competition, have the most mu'minin points, and then I could go home and miss Isha and go to sleep. And that would be no benefit to me whatsoever. It'd be some benefit, but not in the big picture. The big picture is Jannah. The big picture is the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Me sitting here telling you all this, and let's say I didn't pray Maghrib, that makes no sense. That makes no sense for me to do that. We have to care about what we want to do. After we have that care, after we have that zeal, then okay, come. But does that mean, okay, now here's a different question. Now let's say I don't pray. Should I stop coming to Islam 101? Oh, who said no? Well, why not?
Because the company you keep will, help you get there.
Right. The company you keep will help you get there. That's a very important point, company. And also, not everyone starts off just automatically praying. I don't think anybody starts off like that. Do you guys know about an imam called Imam Malik? He's one of the four from the madahibs. Imam Malik, rahimahullah. He was like 18, 19. He was known, right, as a scholar of Medina. No one could give a ruling, no one could give a fatwa if he was in town. And he was always in town. Meaning if you wanted to give a fatwa in Medina, he has to approve it. That's how big of a scholar he was. When he was like 18 or 19, he didn't care about ilm. His father wanted him to do it, He had a big brother, I don't know if it was, I believe it was a big brother. He had a brother. And his father would look up to his brother, and his brother was basically pushed towards ilm. You know what he would do when he was at that age? He would play with pigeons. We have PS3 or PS4. He would play with pigeons. He would go outside and play with pigeons. The scholar of Medina, when he was younger. And then he saw how much his father looked up and was proud of his brother. And so he said, you know what? I can do that too. He took it as a challenge. That's how he started off ilm. Okay? He didn't come off like, oh, I'm 4 years old, 7 years old, I'm going to start praying. Everything in my life is perfect. It's not like that. No one's life is perfect. So my point to you is that we all have to have a starting point somewhere. Just because we don't pray doesn't mean we should stop coming to Islam 101. It's a push. It takes you somewhere. It gives you an environment. It gives you the company you were mentioning. It gives you that confidence you need, that push, that encouragement you need to do something. That's what we all need in our life, a push. Right? So just because we're not what we want to be, it doesn't mean we should just stop. It just means we have something to strive for. It means we have a goal now. Right? If you ever feel like I am where I am where I should be, you messed up. If you think you are where you should be, you just messed up because you think you're good right now. Nobody is good right now. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would make istighfar 70 to 100 times a day. Why is he making istighfar? Why is he saying Allah forgive me? What's the point? Even he is concerned. He prays tahajjud. To him, tahajjud is mandatory. Why? When his wife asked, why do you do this? He said, should I not be grateful to the creator of the world? Should I not be grateful? We pray tahajjud for forgiveness. He prays tahajjud for gratefulness. Bilal radiallahu anhu, he would pray tahajjud, and the Sahaba would hear that when he would make dua, he would never make dua for himself. So then he would say, why don't you make dua for yourself? He said, I would love to make dua for myself, but I keep making dua, and I keep saying to Allah, for so many things out of gratitude, I don't have time to make dua for myself because Fajr Salah comes in. He's making dua, he's thanking Allah so much, he doesn't have time to ask for what he wants. That's the state, that's the condition. These are the Sahaba. That's beautiful. We have to have a push. So we always have to strive more. So even if you don't pray right now, it's okay if you're not praying right now. But it doesn't mean you should stay at that condition. Just because you're not praying doesn't mean you're chill, you're good. No. It doesn't matter if you're making the most money. It doesn't matter if your parents are happy with you. It doesn't matter if you have the best wife or the best husband. It doesn't matter if you have the best kids. You have to think about your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can have the worst of wives, like Lut alayhi salam. You can have kids who are disobedient, like the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam, right? You can have fathers like Fir'aun with Musa, who was his father, quote unquote, who was terrible, right? You can have all these things. They don't matter. The only relation that matters is the relation you have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for that, you should always say, you know what? I'm messing up right now, but it's okay. I'm going to try to do something more. I'm going to come to Islam 101 to get one thing that I can at least implement into my life. I'm going to start caring more. Because honestly, half the time, the discussion has to be us caring more, not what we need to do. There are books on things to get your amals up, to get your actions up, to become more pious. That has actions written on it. But the main thing is intention. Why am I doing this? Do I care enough to do this? Do you guys see what I'm talking about? It doesn't matter if I give you books on information. That doesn't do anything unless you care about implementing it. So moving forward, I'm always going to be going off topic, and I apologize for that. And if you guys have feedback, please let me know. But when I was asking my teacher about this, and he said, when you're presenting the class, don't just present the class with information. Present the class with practicality. Tell people what relates to them. Because this is just information. This is a list, 10 things that invalidate wudu. You can probably Google it and find out. What's the point? A lecture, a halaqah, all these Islamic gatherings, Islamic organizations, what they try to do is they try to get you, it's an iman boost. It's that push I was talking about earlier. And we need that sometimes. Sometimes we need to go off topic and discuss these things. Next thing on the list is laughing out loud in a prayer which contains ruku' and sujood. Now, why is that so specific? Which contains ruku' and sujood. What prayer does not contain ruku' and sujood? Salatul Janazah. I would hope you don't laugh when you're praying Salatul Janazah. That would be really, really, really bad. Do not do that. Also, these are for also obviously keeping in mind baligh people, right? Meaning people who have reached puberty. So obviously for kids, don't worry about that. And then if blood exits the mouth and overcomes the spit within the mouth. This is a technical question that I always give on the quiz to understand if you understand the point or not. So if you're brushing your teeth and blood comes out from your gums, you guys know what I'm talking about? That happens, right? If you have enough blood that overcomes the spit. So how you would do that is by spitting on the sink, and you would see, do I see more blood or do I see more spit? And based on that, you would be able to judge on yourself that, okay, my wudu is broken or my wudu is not broken. And the last thing, this is not under Hanafi fiqh, but this is under Shafi'i fiqh, that if you were to touch a non-mahram, then your wudu would break. Yeah. For women and men, yeah. For Shafi'i fiqh. Yeah, if they were to touch the woman. I wanted to mention a few things that I feel are important because, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it only non-mahram, or are they talking about like everything?
So, non-mahram.
Okay.
But I've heard Shafis told me personally themselves that even their own mother. So I'm not going to say any comment because I learned under Hanafi fiqh. This book is from Hanafi fiqh. So I can find out and get back to you from a Shafi scholar. So I would prefer to do that actually than comment on it. This is the one I was talking about earlier, the list. There's going to be lists in this specific lecture, so just bear with me, please. Once again, the more you memorize, the better it is for Jeopardy and in your quizzes. But a lot of this, to make your life easier, don't look at the list. There's 15 things on there, don't look at it. Just know that you already do at least 10 of them. You already do 10 of them, okay? So as you go through it, you're going to understand what you already covered. So sunan of wudu, which means the traditions of wudu, right? So these are bonus points, think about it that way. But for Sahaba, they would do it regardless. Number one, having intention of saying of wudu, saying that I'm intending. Like you don't have to say it, but you make an intention within your mindset, within yourself, that I'm going to purify myself correct right now. That's one. That's a sunan. You got a sunnah point for that. Saying the basmala, meaning Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We should say that before we start anything, right? Imam Asmari made the point of saying that he was saying that for people who drink alcohol or have an addiction, they cannot stop. Say Bismillah before you start your addiction, because not to say this is going to be good. No, of course not. That's not the point. His point was that maybe if you say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim in the meaning of Bismillah, in the name of Allah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, the most merciful, the most beneficent, the most compassionate, when we say it, we'll feel some reluctance to carry out that action. To say that, you know what, how do I say this? How do I commit a sin by saying the name of the Creator and then going against His own rulings? Do you see what I mean? But before anything of goodness, we should always say Bismillah. And before reading the Quran, before entering the masjid, anything, saying Bismillah. Washing the hands up to the wrist. We already do this, right? This is already common within us. Washing the hands up to the wrist, that's a sunnah by itself, right? Another one, using a miswak or one's finger. You can use a toothbrush if you want to basically clean out the mouth, right? I would recommend anytime, because sometimes what we do is we make wudu, then we eat somewhere down the line, then we pray. I would highly recommend cleaning out your mouth. Highly recommend cleaning out your mouth, because what ends up happening is, I don't know if you guys know this, if you swallow food, right, during your salah, it messes you up. It breaks the salah. It breaks your salah. Now, if you have food somewhere in there, you don't realize it, then you start your salah, and then boom, somewhere from like between your teeth something comes out. And there's a ruling, it's supposed to be the size of a morsel, a small grain. If it's bigger than that, then your salah is broken. So why take that risk? You're in the middle, you're like 4 rak'ah of dhuhr salah, you're in the 4th rak'ah, boom, you swallow something. You just broke your salah. Why go through all that? Just go rinse out your mouth and then go through with it. And that's number 5 sunnah. The 5th sunnah is rinsing one's mouth, right? The 6th sunnah is cleansing one's nose. When you put the water, run it through your nose. The 7th one is washing your limb 3 times. That's 2 different things. We think of it as one. We think of it as washing your wrist 3 times is one sunnah. No, washing up to your wrist is one sunnah, and washing it 3 times itself is another sunnah. Now think about it like this. When you know this and you're doing it, every time you go through it, you're thinking, okay, I'm getting an extra reward. You're going through extra, which Allah will know. And now Allah knows that you're doing extra for His sake. And now He's going to give you more rewards. That's why it's important to distinguish sunnah and fara'idh, so we understand what we're doing when we're doing it. And then, so we know, what, am I doing extra? Am I doing it for Allah? Is my intention pure? You can check yourself with that. Next one, passing wet hands over the head once, starting from the front of the head. This is the fara'idh action, right? We have to do this, wiping over the head, all those to the back, right? And then, 8 and 9, right? Passing wet hands over the front and the back of the ears. This is a sunnah, but it's not a fard. So the fard is number 8. The sunnah is number 9. Okay? And number 15 highlights it.
So why do you have that as part as a sunnah?
So if you were to go from the front of the head to the back, if you go from the head to the back, fard says this, wiping over the head. Okay? But sunnah says from the front of the head, all the way from the front to the back. That's how you excel in wudu. Okay? And then the 9th is if you were to go above and beyond that and clear out wet fingers to the finger over the front and the back of the ears as well. The back of the ears is not the back of the head, correct? 2 different things, right? So that's adding on more to it. Do not do the neck. Do not do the throat. Look at number 13. If you guys can look at number 13, please. This is important. Number 13, I would probably put this on a quiz question. Wiping the back of the neck, that's sunnah. Wiping the throat, not sunnah. Okay? Now, if you do it out of ignorance, you're not going to be held accountable for that, obviously. But now you all know. Wiping the throat can be considered innovation for some scholars. because he never did it. Rasulullah never came on the front. He would stop in the back. So wiping the neck is fine. Wiping the throat is not fine. But if you see someone doing it out of ignorance, don't be like, hey, like that guy doesn't know. Maybe teach him, bring him to Islam 101, then he'll learn or something, right? Because if something is done out of ignorance, what are we supposed to? We can't just go up to him. But that's how da'wah works, right? We'll do it slowly, step by step. Rubbing the limbs while washing them. Like to do this, like to actually rub your hands and your arms and your wrists and all your faces. That's a sunnah itself. We do it naturally. I told you it's a long list, but most of it we have it done. Alhamdulillah, the way we've been raised, and if not, it's something you can start implementing. The way we've been raised, it's already automatic, so we do it. But now we know that we're getting reward for it in each and every single step. Real quickly, washing the limbs in succession such that the previous limb is still wet. What does that mean? Can anyone? What does that mean?
Taking a break in the middle.
Right. So, like my teacher gave the example of washing your wrist. They're going to play some 2K. They come back, and then you're like, don't do that. Finish your wudu, right? But also in succession too. That's also important. So that means that the right order. So first I do the right order: the hands, the face, right? But my face is wet. At the same time, my hands are still wet, right? So my feet are wet, but my head is still wet. So you understand what I mean? So that's our goal should be to perfect it. What did I mention here? One second, I'll get your question. What did I mention here? What is the meaning of wudu? Excellence, beauty. You want to excel in beauty, you do it perfectly. And the thing is, here's a point I didn't mention in the lectures. Rasulullah ﷺ would not waste water when he made wudu. He would use very minimal water, but he would be very, very pure. That's called optimization. That's called optimization. He would not waste. We have water all over the place. Like, you make wudu at the workplace. First of all, company doesn't expect you to make wudu in the workplace. Okay, you can make it, that's good. But you better clean up your area after you finish making wudu in the workplace. That's trust, that's amana, right? You're coming into a non-Muslim company, you're working for them, they're paying you. The least you can do is clean up for yourself, right? So after we make wudu in the public area, what should we do? Take tissue and not only dry ourselves, but dry the sink, clean up. You have wudu water all over the place. Even on the floor you have water. You should clean up. Take the tissue, wipe the floor. Wipe the floor. Why not? You're supposed to clean up for yourself. And so do not be excessive in your water wastage either. We should not be excessive in anything. Not waste anything. Food, water, everything. You had a question?
What about talking during wudu?
That's fine. That doesn't do anything. But if yeah. You have a question? Yeah. I mean, talking during wudu does not break your wudu.
Okay, so you said those are sunnah. So does that mean if you have short or short in time or
Short water? What?
like
Less water?
you don't have a lot of water
Okay.
or you don't have a lot of time to make wudu, those things if you don't do those, your wudu still counts.
Okay. So the question was, I have less water or I have less time. I don't have enough time on my hand. And I am not, here's the list. I am not able to go through all of these things, correct? He's saying, does my wudu still count? Can anyone else answer for me? Yeah.
Yes, it counts. If you're done with your
Sorry, you guys are sitting right next to each other. I couldn't tell. Go ahead.
So yes, I say yes because you did the fourth, you didn't use it.
Right. So that's the correct answer, right? The four things. Now, if I have lack of water and I don't do the four things, which was in the ayah I mentioned at the beginning, right? Up to the elbows, the face, over the head and the feet, then I have an issue, right? Then my wudu does not count. Now, here's another question. He said less water. That's important to note. Less time, I don't care about that. That's on you. But less water, that's a problem. If you don't have any water to make wudu, then there's an answer for that. Then you do
I'd say just enough to do those four things.
Then that's perfectly fine. Okay. But in the case of if you don't have enough water, then you do tayammum, which we'll cover inshallah. Probably not today though.
A bottle of water, there's no water around.
Yeah, a bottle of water is enough water to make wudu.
Oh no, 1/3 of one
Come on. Like the 20 fluid ounces, that's enough to make wudu.
Let's just say for the sake of argument, somebody's lazy. Let's just say somebody's lazy.
Yeah.
They just need to do those four things.
That's what I said, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The fourth is all you have to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's,
No, I just said,
somebody's
Mohsin is
lazy
saying
and
like, I'm
they're lazy.
lazy. I don't want to do the sunnah. And
Your
that's-
wudu counts. Your wudu counts.
So, so there's a okay. So here's a question. Here's a so. No. No, the good questions are being asked. What did I mention earlier about the meaning of wudu? What did I mention about the meaning of wudu? Excellence. What is it about excellence that, and we are done with the slides for now. We're not going to finish the lecture. The rest of the lecture will be covering this point of excellence because I think it's really important for us to understand this. What is excellence? What's the point of excellence? Going above and beyond. Perfect. Any other words come to mind? Ihsan. Anything else come to mind? Anyone come to mind? Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Excellence. For us, what's our goal? And to go to Jannah, the hadith, let's go with the hadith, let's cover the hadith, because the hadith will be in jeopardy probably. Let's go with the hadith. The hadith says what? No, someone else. My teacher did this too, so I have to do it too, sorry. Someone else. What was the hadith? Anyone remember? I mentioned it like 3 times.
Hadith about?
At the beginning of the lecture. About paradise and prayer.
If you don't pray,
Paradise, the Oju is the key to Salah, and Salah is the key to paradise. That's what you're-
Purity is a key to prayer. But the hadith goes like this, so please keep this in mind because I think it's going to be on jeopardy. Okay. Paradise, the key to paradise is prayer. And the key to prayer is wudu. I mean, it's purity. PPP. Paradise, prayer, purity. Should not forget that. Okay? For all the teams. The key to paradise is prayer. The key to prayer is purity. Now, purity, wudu is under purity. Wudu says excellence. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was someone who was excellent, who was ihsan, who was perfect. We said these adjectives. We said the synonyms. Correct? As the followers of his ummah, what should be our goal? We said earlier about hadith and Quran, right? We need both of them. We need hadith and Quran because who was the teacher of the Quran? Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He taught it to us, right? He's our teacher. Our goal is to be like who? Him. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Now, think about it like this. This is a man living such a long time ago in the harsh conditions. During wars, during trials and tribulations, we don't face anything near it. Do you know how something becomes a sunnah? This means that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam kept on doing this. Right? He kept on doing this. So that means these 15 things, it was natural, it was general, like all the time. So for us, our goal should be what? To be excellent. Our goal should be to find beauty. Now, Islamic jurisprudence, Islamic ruling says that does your wudu count if you were to have just those 4 things that is mentioned in the ayah? Yes, that's all you need to have your wudu count. However, there's a sense of ignorance and arrogance that can reach into ulama sometimes, scholars sometimes, and students of knowledge too. Let me not say scholars, let me say students of knowledge. Students of knowledge get this, and it happens. When they were teaching us this, they told us, look, sometimes when students of knowledge start learning, they'll look for all the shortcuts. And it's fun when you find out the shortcuts, right? But what ends up happening is it takes away from your amal, your actions. You become so engrossed in the shortcuts, you forget the big picture. Allah likes to see effort. Allah likes to see people striving. If you're always looking for less, then what can we expect from Allah when we keep looking for less from Allah? Right? It's like when it comes to forgiveness. How do we expect for Allah to forgive us when we cannot forgive our friend, our mother, our father, our sister, our brother? Does that make sense to you guys? We expect so much from Allah. Allah, give me this, all of this, please. Because I'm so deserving and worthy. But even though I have time, even though I have water, even though the best person to walk on this planet, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, did this, and all his companions, the second set of people, the best set of people who walked on the planet, and they're the ones who did it, I'm not going to do it. So, Islamic ruling wise, yes. But it depends on person to person. I remember this one guy, he told me, he's like, bro, I don't want to pray right now because I don't feel like getting up. This is serious. It's a serious concern. he was watching Netflix on his laptop. He's in college. Like, bro, I don't want to get up. Like, I'm in a zone. Like, you know what I mean? I'm chilling. Like, I don't want to pray right now. Prayer time is about to leave, right? So, am I gonna go up to him and be like, bro, there's 15 sunnahs. We gotta get this done right now. Wudu, you gotta get all 15 down. The best person on the planet. I'm not gonna do that. That doesn't make any sense. Look at his condition. Different people are in different conditions. So for us, my question to you is for you to ask yourself a question. Well, not my question, my proposal to you is for you to ask yourself a question. What condition do you see yourself at? How much can you challenge yourself? How much do you want to improve yourself? That's the question. I mentioned earlier the point of this, everything, every point in our life for deen, for Islam, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to come from intention and our care for it. If you don't have care for it, you're not going to get anywhere. So if you care enough, then yeah, you're going to do all 15. You're going to keep track. You're going to count. You're going to make sure you get them all done. Right? But before you go to that, you have to care about salah. You have to care about that you want to pray first, the 5 prayers. Let's focus on that first. But to get there, we have to have perfect wudu. So yes, question asked. 4 things, if I just do those 4 things mentioned in the ayah, will it count? 100%. Second question, should I do that? Do more than that. Do more than that. Do what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did. You want to get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? You want the key to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The key to Jannah is prayer. The key to prayer is purity. The key to Allah is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his beloved Nabi. Do you understand the difference between excellence, what we need to do, how we need to challenge ourselves? It's very hard for me to come to a general audience and just say, do these 15 things or don't do these 15 things or worry about 4 things. It's really hard for me to do that. I can't just do that, because everyone is at a different level in their iman, different level in their state and condition. Like I said, some guy doesn't want to get up to pray. I'm not going to go tell him 15 things. That's not my point. So we have to so ask yourself the question. You're here. You're in an Islamic soccer league. You figure it out. You take it upon yourself. I can't make you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives hidayat. I cannot make you do anything. Allah gives hidayat. And when He opens up the light, you will want to do more always. With that in mind, I'd like to close. We didn't finish the lecture. It's okay. We'll finish more next week or next Islam 101, inshallah. There's a lot to cover because this one is well in depth, and inshallah we can get all questions answered. Do we have any other questions before I conclude? Yes.